Let's begin making a vintage journal, starting with scissors, paper glue, and a hole punch. But the bulk of my supplies are in here. This glorious Amazon bag. Everything that I have in here is pre-measured except for the twine. Still deciding on whether I'm going to use that to bind up the vintage book / journal that I'm making. This is some cardstock that I bought a long time ago that I plan to use for the cover. And you'll see some of that later on. I'm not sure where to begin except just getting things out and taking a look at everything. Here are some recycled bags. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 8 papers and 16 pages altogether. Okay, so here are some other things I cut out to decorate with. It's some tissue paper that I got from our local gift shop. And these people, they wrap the fine items that you buy in this vintage looking newspaper style tissue paper. So, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, it's good. So 1 on each page, 2 on each paper. This is the birch bark. If you saw my video from a long time ago, I have some firewood logs that were made of birch, and there's my stationery. I did not want my husband to burn those logs with all these beautiful pieces of bark that were peeling off. So I made a video of me peeling off the bark and saving it before we burned the wood. Such nice sounds. I'll put the link to that video underneath in description so you can watch that if you like. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, never mind. I've got enough here. There should be 16 of those. Okay, where to begin? Let's just set things around a little bit, make room. I don't need to make the cover right now, so I want to set that aside. That'll be my last part, I think. But wait, I need these. I'm going to decorate with these other little tabs of cardstock. My husband saw those and said, "Gosh, those are so pretty. Where'd you get those?" I was like, I have had these for years and years. I think I got them when we first got married, because I really love crafts. I mean, for all I know, that could be 12 years old. Let's take our first paper and our first tissue. I really that I have no clue what I'm doing here. And that is most of the time what you find out about me in most any given video that I make. I'm always kind of a fly by the seat of your pants person. Glue. I'm gonna have to get a washcloth to hold it beside me. See, I knew I wanted to incorporate these different things together, but I've never done anything like this before, so I have no clue what I'm doing. I don't think that's gonna work. I think that should be featured on top of that. Now, for some of you, this will be very painful to watch because you're gonna say to yourself, not there, don't put that there. Or you're gonna say, man, that would have been way better if you had put it in that spot over there. See this bark, look at this. Isn't that interesting? All of this bark has layers, but not all of them peel, you know. I'm not going to be a perfectionist. I'll just put enough glue for it to hang together for quite some time. Honestly, I don't even know if this bark, it kind of matches the newspaper, but now we bring in stationery that has a completely different kind of brown. So I think in the way that I tend to do crafts, that things will morph as well and change. See, there's a loose end. I don't, I'm the kind of person who feels like not everything has to match perfectly. Let's grab the first. Now, I'm not entirely sure where this should go on here, but I do want it on here. And I'm also trying to decide how much of the paper bag do I want to show. Do I want the paper bag to show? I don't know. Like if you were doing this project, would you arrange this differently? Would you think that these browns should match? So that's the beauty of crafts, is when you do a craft, nobody can tell you how it should be done. But I do know that there are certain rules in decorating that have to do with spatial relationship and some color matching, that kind of thing. But we are not all professional decorators, are we? Let me see. I think I'm just going to glue this on first and then cut the edges off because I can't pre-measure or pre-guess because I am not a perfectionist. I just don't operate that way. Just get it on here where I want it. Let's just cut some of this off towards the edge of the paper. Now, that's better, but I can see better on this edge. Kind of refine the edges a bit. I want it to be a bit rough to make it look somewhat rustic. These papers, the stationery, I got that from Amazon as well. I think I just typed in vintage stationery, and that was because I wanted to write letters to some of the subscribers that were sending me things. So let's cut out a card. Now see, these cards, they are written, the lettering is written in French. So it's a bit different than, say, the American newspaper, right? And so that is another way in which I am mixing, let's see, the word is not genre, mixing, there's a word for it, where you mix different styles and different kinds of, it's mixed media. I think it's called media. Mixed medium, no, it's medium, I think it's medium. Mixed medium art. Although this is all essentially still just paper. And all of this paper is recycled except for the stationery. Well, actually the stationery might be made of recycled paper too. I did not check that. So we have tissue paper, regular stationery paper, paper bags, cardstock, and real bark, tree bark. So you talk about a very differently sourced craft supplies. It's crazy. But what I love is that it's all paper product. These pieces are so oddly shaped that it's going to be a trick to find just the right shape or size for where I want it to go. Trust me, I do not know where I want it to go. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. No scientific method here whatsoever. I can feel the layers of that bark there. It's kind of flaky, but I think it'll stay. Alright, now let's pick a cardstock. don't even know what you call this. This is like address tags or gift tags. I don't know. They all have French words on them. And this time I'm cutting it out more in detail, unlike the first two that I've done. I think I'd like to see the actual shape of the card coming through there. Stationery. I was getting ahead of myself getting out that cardstock. I'm not being very careful with the glue. I think I'll start spreading it out a bit. I know this glue is just really good. Oh my gosh. If you have not heard of PVA glue for paper, and it's especially well known for bookbinding. I think I've mentioned it in another video. Okay, put that there. That looks good. Stay. And the thing about it is that it is quick drying. So even as I continue to work here, that is going to dry. Now it's not so quick that you can't, get your paper down and then remove it and fix it. It doesn't dry that fast, but fast enough to where you can continue working on the next aspect of your project. And it dries clear. I've used it to bind books, and it's incredible. Makes the book like new. And I can see that I'm running low, which is why I am laying the glue on its side, in case that's bothering any of you. The bottle I'm keeping on its side so the glue will not have as far to run to get to the top for application. Alright, I want to kind of vary the positions of everything that I'm putting on these pages so that there is no uniformity. I want there to be a certain amount of randomness about this, where I will use the same supplies on each paper. No page should look just alike. And so we'll place every piece of paper, every tissue paper, every cardstock in a different spot than the last time. So when you open up a page in this journal, it will feel creative and random. Now, should let you know that I am doing most of the journal today, and it will be like 80% completed, but I intend to embellish this even more. I think this is sufficient and it looks okay, but I think I'm going to get more supplies for it, and I will let that be a sequel video. I don't know when I'll do it, but I'm going to do it. Okay, stationery. Now, I mean tissue paper, I mean to say. As I'm working on this, I tend to be distracted by let's see if I can explain this. I tend to think ahead about what's going on next and imagining the whole thing finished and that sort of thing. So I don't always concentrate on what I'm doing at hand. What do you call that? So I am bound to make some boo-boos here and there, here and there. So when you see them, you'll have to overlook them. Okay. There are a few of you who have received letters from me on this stationery. And maybe if you're one of those and you're seeing this video, you could say, hey, in comments. I'm not super good at remembering who, what, where, when, and why. So you'll have to explain who you are and why I sent you a letter. If you hear this and you got one from me. Okay. Cut out this. Now I do not know what to call these. They're like gift tags, I think. But the fact that it has a space on it to write something is what appealed to me for this particular project and the coloring of it. And well, you know me and chickens. It just so happened that these vintage looking little cards had chickens on them. And I was like, yes, I love chickens. Let's use them. Where should I put this one? Right there. There. Oh boy. I Where does it go, guys? Where would you put it? I'm putting it right there. You didn't know where I was gonna go with it. I'll tell you honestly, either did I. I just thought glue this thing and get it on there. Well, that's something else I'm noticing too. I'm not putting things on straight, exactly straight. But I hope that will create a certain amount of homemade charm. Don't want to put much glue on the tissue paper. Even though I know it will dry clear and nice, it's, oops, get this. I just don't think it, I just don't think it needs much, and as long as it's not going to come off, it'll provide a nice crinkly sound when you turn the pages if it's kind of loose. Well, that's got a big old knot in it. So rustic looking, I love that. I'm actually gluing on parts of a tree. Of course. Originally I thought that I would use the birch bark to write on, which is what I kind of sampled. Did a bit of sampling of that in the original video where I harvest this bark. And I tried writing on it, and I suppose if you had the right implement, it would work out, but I felt that writing on the bark wasn't working too well, so it represents paper that was made in old days, but I'm not going to try to write on it. It's going to just decorate the background of my pages. And we'll put this stationery instead for writing on. See, I've decided that I want some of the original grocery bag paper to show here and there. How's that? Let's get a small one this time. I don't know if it's just because I love the rose design and I wanted to show more, or if I'm just oh well, there's no rhyme or reason. Let's just cut this thing out and see if it fits on here nicely. This one's very intricate. A little bit more difficult to cut than the other bigger ones. Okay. That looks good there. Try there. It looks a little lonely in the right-hand corner. I think I better put it there. Kind of put down the edge of the stationery. I have a towel off to the right of me on the chair that I can have a damp cloth to wipe the glue off my hands. good for me. And using that hole punch as a weight to kind of hold those papers down. See, this paper, I barely pre-measured. I didn't try very hard, but I did. Use a ruler to get a basic original size to kind of go with as a guide. And as I said earlier, the history of this grocery bag is, I'll just tell you the story. My husband buys brandy every once in a while from the liquor store. And they send him home with these beautiful paper bags. I just can't stand the waste, so I put them in the cupboard and I save them thinking, I might use this again someday. So I cut them up one day and wrapped up all of my faux fruit and stored them away. And then when I took them back out, I made a video and showed you how I was unwrapping them. And then I thought, well, they've been used once, but these papers are still good, and I cannot stand to throw them away. So I found the best parts of them and cut these rectangular pieces of paper out of them and took the rest of them and set them aside. I'm saving them still yet again because there's a lot more left. Now see, paper is so much easier to recycle and reuse than plastic. But I have boxes and bags full of plastic bags of the things I've bought, from the store. Alrighty, let's get another card out. Poulet. Chicken. It's funny, in other languages, chicken, like in Spanish, I think it's pollo. In French, it's well, anyway, America seems to be so different. I mean, pollo and poisson is so different than chicken. We have hens. Hens are the female, and roosters are the male. Why do we have 3 different names? Well, okay, we have names for humans. We are humans, male and female, girl, boy. So I guess we can have chickens be chickens and be roosters and hens. Right? It's funny. You just don't think about these things unless you have the time to be just dawdling around like this mindlessly. Okay. I'm putting just a bit more glue on these tissue on the sides because so just because. I know I am trying to make sure that from front to back that the tissue paper is in a different spot. And I'm also trying to make sure that some of the grocery bag that has creases or lettering get covered. That's the thing about grocery bags, big or small, unless they're actually lunch sacks. But these have usually some lettering with the company name stamped on it. I don't know why they don't do that with lunch sacks, but they do it with grocery bags. There's gotta be a piece here that works for me. I've got so many pieces to choose from. The question is, am I gonna have enough? I mean, enough good pieces. There's plenty here, that's for sure. It's funny because I can be very picky about some things, but very careless and nonchalant about others. There's a part of me that doesn't want to cover up any of the birch bark because it's my favorite part on these pages. So I'm putting this big old piece of birch bark on here, and I'm going to have to cover a lot of it. Get this glue off. Gosh, so much glue. If I had thought ahead differently, I might have made the tissue paper pieces a little smaller, so I'd have more paper bag showing. But I'm pretty happy with how things are turning out. This is okay. I think if I spread this glue out a little bit more on the corners, I'll have more of a secure attachment of the paper. Now that is totally upside down. I am not taking it back off. And do you know how you can tell it's upside down? Never mind. Okay, here we go. This one's going to be easier to cut out. It's a bit more square than the rest of those other ornate ones. Or maybe I could have found stationery that was smaller and didn't cover up so much of the page. Well, I don't know, here's the thing, is I'm the kind of person who goes out and says, I'm at the store, say I'm at Michael's, or I'm at the craft section in Walmart, and I see a craft supply, or a stationery, or something, and I go, ooh, that'd be cool for something. Buy it, take it home, and maybe you don't make that craft right away. I don't have anything in mind specifically at the moment. I just buy what I like. So, here's the thing about the way that I operate. I think, save this tissue paper, save the bark, save the grocery bags, save these things. And I go, well, someday I'll use them. Someday I'm going to save them because someday I'm going to use them. And so, like with my decorating in my house, it's the same way with crafts. I get the most pleasure out of deriving something beautiful out of something I already have. It's sort of like salvaging. I'm a bit of a salvager. Trying to make something out of nothing. Like, here's an example of salvaging. My husband once found out that his daughter and her husband were going to tear down a shed in their backyard. A beautiful wooden shed. And my husband thought, well, how can we just let that go? How can we just let them tear that down and throw it away? So he went into their yard and pulled that thing down bit by bit and took as much supplies from there as he could salvage. He salvaged it. Brought all of those boards to our yard. And then he just thought, okay, without having to spend hardly any money at all, we are going to have a different kind of shed made of wood in our yard. He recreated that thing that he pulled down into the most beautiful, country-looking, huge shed in ours. Something to be proud of, something to behold. Yes, it was twice, 3 times the work had he just bought new wooden supplies, but this was free. See? So, and then what that did also was it forced him to be creative about how to take what he had at his disposal and turn it into something beautiful. And this is what I'm doing here. I'm going, okay, already had all of these things that you see on this table. Already had them. What can I make? And this is how I do my decorating in my house as well. I go to the store and I say, look at this lovely item. I have no clue what I'm going to do with it. I take it home, and I think this is something I love. I'm going to find a place for it. And so then the challenge then is not, it's just to make it work. Take all that you love and somehow make it work. So I've had people ask me, would you decorate my home for me? And I'm like, I can't reproduce this look. If you will give me all of your things that you love, that you own, and you have it all sitting in one place, I can take your things and put them together again in a way that would be pretty, I think. For example, here's another story. My sister, she asked me, Rebecca, can you make my house look pretty? And I said, possibly. And her decor, her thing is she loves hunting and fishing and camping. So when she is out at a thrift shop or something, she'll bring home things with fish motifs. She'll bring home plaques and decorations that have woodsy things. The whole theme of woodland and outdoorsy stuff. And she loved the color teal. She loves teal, that kind of a green-blue or blue-green. So that was all I knew. That was all I had. So I said, well, okay, let's paint. We painted the kitchen, and I just said, here's your stuff. Now we're going to weed out this. You have too much of it. And then we're going to take what you've got here, what you already own, and I'm going to place it a bit more strategically. So she gave me carte blanche. Didn't have to go out and spend any money. She already had everything. So all I did was salvage what she already owned and arranged it in such a way that it blended and it went well. And we brought it together with the color of the paint. And that's it. That's how I do it. I couldn't, if somebody's, I don't think that if somebody said, hey, here's a budget, just go out and buy things to make it look like this. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know. The fun, all of the fun in it for me is just make use of what you've got and present it in the best way you can. I am not a decorator. I tend to be an artist, and an artist can probably do some decorating. So, one of my favorite movies, all-time favorite movies, besides Gone with the Wind, is this silly little movie called Pillow Talk from the 1960s with Doris Day and Rock Hudson. And she's a decorator. And she is decorating in the 60s, where, though, in New York, where there is the weirdest, funkiest pieces of art, and everything is straight lined and bold colors of orange and gold and green. And I'm going, ew. Well, anyway, the irony is that I love the palette of the 1960s. I love reds, golds, and greens. And even that pea green. But it matters how it goes together, see? Those long shag carpets. Ew. Never gonna put that in my house, even if I'd lived in the 1960s. But I love those colors. I do. So, I'm not mod. I'm not modern at all. I love the colors, but I'd like to create a vintage look, even if it's not authentic. So, I am not a decorator. I just am artistic and like to the challenge of putting together the things that I love. Yes, I got to peel that off there. It's flippy. It's all flippy. Flippy and fluffy. Let's get... The thing about this birch bark is it's, I believe it's a paper-made product. I mean, it's not paper-made. It's the original paper, of course. But I wasn't sure how it would react to glue, seeing as it's such a natural substance. Like, I don't think you can glue rocks to paper very easily. Not that I would try. Okay, where does this go? Yeah. So I've got that empty corner in the upper right. I think I better fill it with this card. Pretty big one. So it'd be too big of a hole to leave there in the right hand corner. That needs to definitely be distracted from. I've got everything lined up kind of on the left side of the page, so. And that's a little bit about, I mean, I know a little bit about decorating in regard to spatial relationship. Like, it seems obvious to me that you wouldn't have everything lined up perfectly all on one side. Okay. So, my stationery is lined up with the newspaper and my... So I have to break it all up here, and so that you don't see how they're the exact same height, the tissue and the stationery. Let's break it up. See? Now, it's hidden. See that? So, that's what I guess part of what the spatial relationship is. Or the randomness, taking it away from the linear look that I had been creating there. But see, I didn't know that ahead of time. I just put the tissue paper down at the exact same height as the stationery and hadn't really thought that out. So it wasn't too late to add the little tag in the corner to break it up. And now I'm just rambling because I can. Okay, neaten that up a little bit now. Finish this piece of bark. I could probably use any one of these pieces if I didn't mind shaping it up a little bit. But I might save that chore to the end when I've run out. If I run out of pieces that fit naturally. That one's huge, but I think I'll use it. Doesn't hurt at all to fill up the page. I love the naturalness of trees. I love the naturalness of nature. Nature is beautiful. And when I do bring home things that I love and arrange them, it so happens that I tend to love imitation of nature. And honestly, if I could, I'd have a tree growing right in the middle of my house. I would. I don't recall if I said this in another video, but we used to have neighbors where I grew up that had a tree growing right out the middle of their living room. Somehow they had figured out a way to let the sun and the rain get to the upper part of the tree, which was outside. It's like, okay, only in Southern California, right? Or places that are nice all the time. I have never really comprehended in my life what it was like. Seriously, especially as a child, to have that privilege of living in a place where the weather was good almost all the time. And that was why there were so many homes there that could actually, part of the house could actually be left open, completely open to the elements, which were so rare to happen. It was mostly desert in Southern California. Alright, let's put another tag on here. Where should it go? Looks good there, but I'm going to be covering bark if I put it there, I don't know. Well, I can't be fussy, I just have to pick a spot. Just pick a spot. Even as I go, I can't think if that's really even the right spot or not. Oh, I probably should have put it lower. Gosh, it's already so sticky, it's hard to move it. Moving the tissue paper around a little bit with it. Okay, let's call that good. Go on to another one here. Okay, let's get moved on to another whole new page. Let's see. Better if this is in. I think I'll go bottom right corner. Judging by what the other side of the page looks like. Yes? No. Yes. Right there. Okay. Piece of bark. Some of these I'll just have to make them work, you know. Yeah, let's see. This one's pretty nice. Take some of that peeling off of there. If I glue this, I want it to stay. So should I take that out? That's good. It's not very big, but I think it'll still be enough to cover that corner of the paper. Get this glue off my hand. I swear there's so much glue. It's probably still all over my hands. As long as my hands don't stick to the project, I'm good. Okay, that looks good there. Let's think about a piece of stationery next. I think it should go kind of off to the left side, maybe. Or maybe right in the middle. Is this the one I want to use? Maybe it's time to use a rose design. Should I use a rose design next? It might match the bark a little better. Yeah, let's go ahead. Middle. Yeah, I think that's best. Don't ask me why. Oh, the changeable mind of Rebecca. And don't tell me there aren't a ton of you out there that are the same way, because I know you're out there. Decide on one thing, and then at the last minute, change your mind. Caught that just in time now, didn't I? You thought I was going to put that on upside down. Hey, just because I've already done it a couple times. Alrighty, now since I put the stationery right in the middle, it's going to make it difficult to choose where to put the card. But I'll think about that a little bit more once I get it cut out. I'm just going ahead and filming the whole thing because I just don't know what parts of this video will be interesting or relaxing. Dang it. I cannot decide. But this project is taking a while. And it's quite repetitive. Okay, right hand corner it is. That way the bark shows. And tissue paper. A little bit of everything. Let's see, I want to put the tissue paper in a different place than it was on the other side. Like I said earlier, just to create a random intermittent look appearance. This newspaper tissue paper, I've noticed that there's quite a bit of repetitive pattern in it. And when you bring it home from the store, you don't really notice that. It wasn't until I started doing this project that I went, man, that picture of the eyeball keeps showing up a lot. Man, that picture of that triangle shape is showing up a lot. And I have never bothered to stop and read what's on these little articles. Never have. I don't even know what year it's emulating, what year it's trying to present. Someday I'll stop and look at that. When I had a gift shop of my own, I had green and tan colored gingham pattern tissue paper to match the same designed wrapping paper. See, at my shop we did complimentary gift wrapping. No, I didn't make a lot of money because of that. But it was something that I just so enjoyed and the people so appreciated. So, it brings people back to your store and they tend to, if they know that the wrapping is complimentary, then they're more liable to spend money on product. So there was a little bit of thinking behind it, but it was never a serious money maker. It was enough money to just keep it going in style and add just a little bit of income to our family, but it was only a success in that it was so well loved and shopped at, but it just didn't make us a lot of money. Anyway, tissue paper is what I was talking about. The gingham tissue paper, I still have some of that now, and you may have seen it in videos because we had so much left over. I still have it. It's kind of cool, kind of fun. Well, would you look at that? I put that stationery on upside down. Brother. Where should I put this? Let's cover the paper bag with it. That works good, I like it. Especially since I put the stationery upside down. Okay, how many papers do I have left here anyway? We're getting close here. Alright, last paper. It is the last paper. Just one more brainstorm of where to put things and how to cut them and how to place them. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've got just a little bit of allergy coming through in my voice. And I'm clicking in my nasal passages. I don't know if you know what I mean. Just hope it's not coming across too loud or obviously. Okay. Where? Let's cover up that black print there. That looks good. Now they're both on and all the tissue papers are out of the way. That might work. It's kind of floppy though, it's got. I don't know. Wait. It's not coming off. I'll just put it on the way it is. Okay, nice. That fits in the corner pretty good. Alrighty then, now, second to last piece of stationery. We're getting so close, we're getting so close. There's still so much more to do getting the album together. And I don't think the whole bunch makes a really nice sound, so I might go ahead and do some of that off camera after this dries. Oh me, I just noticed the stationery is upside down. Look at that. I'm not changing it now. I could, but I don't want to. Which one? Get something that'll kind of hide the fact that my stationery is upside down. These cards are just so pretty. Mon petite. Mon petit. What does that mean? I guess it has something to do with chickens. Those of you who know French, you can tell me, because I'm not going to bother looking it up right now. Mon petit. Am I saying it right? Okay, last little tip here. All these little scraps come off of there. Definitely goes left. Definitely. Don't even have to think about that one. I have to cover up that corner where the paper bag is sticking out. Okay, right there. But still leave some of the paper bag showing. I like that. There we go. Finish our very last page. Just gotta find one decent piece of bark. There's gotta be something here. I've looked at this before and didn't use it, but I think I'm going to make it work. Something on there. Oh, yep. Gotta get that off of there. Little bit. Okay. Ready to glue. It looks sort of like a flag to me. A torn up flag. Look at all the glue I got all over everything. It's a good thing it dries clear. Yep, a lot of that's going to get covered up, I guess, but we're ready for our last piece of stationery. And I am not going to put it in upside down. Right there. Perfect. This corner is perfecter. Either way, I have lined it up with the tissue paper, so I need to put this card in the left corner at the top to off balance everything. I'm not sure if that was the right spot, but I didn't want to cover up the green leaf on the stationery. I'm going to embellish these with more decor later on, so we'll be able to cover up empty spots. Let's get all these together, and I need to let them dry up pretty good before I continue this video, so we'll do a segue and a splice and come back to this. Here we go. Mostly dry. So, off camera, I went ahead and glued together my cardstock pieces to the size and shape of my papers. So I just have to put this in the hole punch, make some holes in it. See there? And that's what I did with all of my pages as well, off camera. There we go. Now, I'm not going to use this twine. I decided against it. It frayed too much trying to get it through the holes. So I found this shoelace, and again, I'm being a scavenger using the things I've got. Found it in my sewing basket because I save random shoelaces. Why do you save random shoelaces? Because someday I'm going to use it again. So my husband kind of advised me on how I could possibly lace this together in a way that would work but yet allow a looseness to be able to turn the pages. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but we'll give it a try. I think a notebook like this would actually be better if it had rings, you know, like key rings or something that would give the pages enough room to turn. But if I can lace this rather loosely, it might work. I don't know. Give it a try. I can keep this kind of straight because it does seem to have a two-sided. I don't want it to get all twisty. I adjust a little bit here because I'm going to come back up through the middle, and that way there is a uniformity with the strings going up on either side, up and down. Keep that loose. Simple bow tie. There. It could be looser. I think it could be looser. But I can turn the pages pretty good. I really like the way this turned out. And no, I have not decided yet what I'm going to use it for. I thought maybe a recipe book for just things relating to chicken recipes. I don't know. But we will be back in another video to show you how I further embellish and decorate Rebecca's beautiful journal. Upside down, don't talk about it. Never mind. And yeah, so I'll see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this. Give it a try at home. Maybe. Think about it. Make your own journal and let me know how it turned out. Bye-bye.